Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another video on Paralives. So, turns out it wasn't just the trailer they revealed yesterday. I already did my reaction video for that. That was fun. But they actually made a bunch of previously Patreon-only posts public that not only give more context to what we saw in the trailer, but reveal some new details as well. So this is probably going to be a very long video, so let's just jump right into it. So they said that the features shown today have been shared with Patreon supporters over the last months in our weekly Patreon posts, and they give a list there: personalities, relationship labels, together cards, do any interaction as a group, jobs and careers, and needs and wants. First up is personalities. So we have this general overview of what Rachel's personality is, and then we have an explanation for what each aspect of it actually does. Starting from the top, we have stats. So you can place points in these stats. Physique, which is how well your character does regarding physical strength, agility, and general health. Mind, how good your character is at things like problem solving, logic, and mathematics. Creativity, the ability of your parafolks to create. And charisma, this is for all things related to communication and leadership. By default, there will be 1 point in each stat, and you will be able to spend 3 additional points in any stats you like. However, you can remove a point in a stat to set it to 0. Doing so, you will gain 1 extra point to place in another stat, but your character will become disadvantaged in that stat. For instance, having 0 points in charisma might make social encounters more challenging. This actually reminds me a bit of how personalities worked in the first 2 Sims games, where you have those points that you spend, and then in the end it also decides the zodiac sign of your Sim, so that's kind of interesting to see this pop up again. Next up is vibe, which is the general impression your parafolk gives. Each vibe will come with perks and particularities that will affect the gameplay in various ways. So you can pick 1, from grumpy, overjoyed, gloomy, energetic, serious, anxious, jester, and peaceful. More vibes may be added, and the list is subject to change. For social perk, depending on the social perk you choose for your character, it will allow them to do better in certain social situations. And again, you pick just 1. Good at being alone, good at making friends, good at taking care of others, good at romantic relationships, or good with family. Next is talent, which are linked to skills that we have in Paralives. Any parafolk can work on any skill in the game, but if a character is talented in a skill category, it will come with perks that will help them progress in the associated skills. So you can pick from 1, music, fitness, science, technology, food, visual arts, jack of all trades, or good at nothing. I really like this idea of having talents towards certain skills. It is pretty realistic and a nice change from the trait system. Then for lifestyles, there's simpler traits to further customize your characters. They guide the decisions your characters will make when performing interactions autonomously. So you can pick as many as you want, including vegetarian, sleeping habits, like early bird, night owl, or standard. That particular one I was confused about when I first saw it. I thought that it meant, like, what side does your parafolk sleep on? Like, on their back, side, or on their chest? That would have been kind of interesting as well, I guess, as a very small detail. But we also have cleaning habits, sloppy, neat, or standard. More may be added later. I also wanted to mention it's great that vegetarian is just a checkbox here, so it doesn't take slots away from anything else. We can also evolve our parafolk's personalities. So in Paralives, the personality isn't static. As you play, your parafolks will be able to level up their personality and select interesting upgrades to evolve their base personality. Playing with your characters will progressively increase their personality level. So here's a couple of examples of things you can get from leveling up your personality. So in this case, Rachel has the music talent, So we can have sleep learning, where sleeping will slowly increase your music skills. So I guess the idea there is that your parafolk is having a musical dream of some kind, which gives them some inspiration. So that's a really neat idea. And speaking of inspiration, everyone learns music skills faster when in a group with you. That also sounds like a really nice benefit. When your parafolk gains a personality level, you will be able to upgrade an element of their personality. These upgrades will be powerful perks that will help your character in their everyday life. I'm very intrigued by this idea of leveling up, not to get like a new magic power, but to unlock more personality depth. That's definitely a good example of something that I'll really need to get my hands on the game to form a better opinion on. I have seen a couple of people be concerned about whether maybe too many things are behind leveling up systems in Paralives to the point where it'll feel more like an RPG than a simulation sandbox game, and I can definitely understand where they're coming from, because then it's like, okay, you're playing this life sim, and then it's like, wait, am I playing a life sim? I think I hear Lotus Juice music playing in the background, improving my social stats instead. Yeah, I actually feel like it's a bit more like Persona in that way. I actually did beat Persona 5 a couple months ago, and now I'm starting Persona 3 Reload, so I wouldn't mind a little bit of Persona in my life sim, though I know that's not for everyone. Moving on to the next post, we have relationship labels. So here's how you develop relationships. Relationships are not just defined by one progress bar. Instead, relationships are defined by multiple specific labels that you unlock as you play. These labels can be upgraded so that players can tailor each relationship. So there's an example of Sebastian's relationship panel. So their connection to Jason is friend level 4, baking buddy level 3, neighbor level 5, and former classmate level 2. Sounds pretty interesting. On the left, you can see all of Sebastian's connections. We still need to add a way to see how close you are to each character at a glance. On the right, after selecting Jason, we can see the labels that define Sebastian's relationship with Jason. Something we wanted to do in Paralives was to make relationships between characters unique, both to allow for storytelling opportunities and to give players different reasons to build relationships between characters in order to accomplish certain goals. A concept that we landed on is the idea of relationship labels. Two parafolks are more than just friends, or roommates, or simply family members. They can have a multitude of labels that represent their relationship. They can have friends that they hang out with to chill and relax, and friends to share their deepest secrets and insecurities. They can go fish often with one of their coworkers, or have a secret crush on the lady that works at the library. All of these concepts will be identified as labels. Some possible labels include family links like mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, cousin. Labels that define types of friendship like friend, confidant, cooking buddy, party partner. Labels that define romantic relationships, love interest, secret crush, lovers, married. Labels that define professional connections, boss, coworker, business partner. And labels that define enemies, rival, bad neighbor, mean ex. Combo labels, to represent multifaceted and evolving relationships. If two parafolks are high level in two specific labels, you could gain the opportunity to unlock what we call a combo label. These are powerful labels with better gameplay effects and bonuses. Some examples: friend plus confidant equals close friend, coworker plus creative buddy equals productive duo, friend plus rival equals frenemy, friend plus mom equals best friend mom, close friend plus lover equals life partner. When two parafolks have combo labels, you know that they have a history together. How labels affect the gameplay. This idea allows us to do plenty of interesting things. Having one-sided labels where characters might feel one way about another, but the feeling is not mutual. I have seen that as a common criticism of The Sims 4, that you can't have one-sided relationships, so it doesn't feel as in-depth that way. So I'm glad Paralives is addressing that, giving the player bonuses such as cooking being easier, going faster, or granting more skill experience when done with a cooking buddy. Now, that's pretty neat. Allow characters to progress in different directions than the ones you might be used to, like enemies, rebel teenager, nosy neighbor, without feeling that you're failing at something. Labels having a level allows us to make relationships progress over time, which can be pretty satisfying, especially if you get different bonuses along the way. That's a really good point. So it's like when you're initially cooking buddies, for example, then you could get bigger cooking bonuses as the relationship progresses through life. You can also unlock new interactions, have impacts on careers and school-related activities, and much more. Then we have an example with Jason and Sebastian because one of their labels is Baking Buddy. So being used to baking together, these two are more efficient at it since they have leveled up their Baking Buddies relationship label quite a bit. We really feel that such a system will allow for a large number of unique relationships where two pairs of paras won't exactly have the same labels and thus won't have exactly the same paths together. It also allows players to weave stories using the labels and the mechanics they will provide. So there's an example here where, in this scenario, a para has a secret crush on someone, so they can send them a secret love letter the other para will never know who it is from. But we do have a more general sneak peek at some interactions on the computer, like find a job, learn about, practice, browse web, and order food. That last one intrigues me because it could just mean ordering a pizza, but I hope that's also hinting at an actual grocery system, so your parafolk have to go out grocery shopping and not just always magically have all the supplies they need in the fridge at all times. That's it for that post. So overall, this does sound like a really interesting way of approaching relationships in the life simulation genre, where relationships can have multiple aspects to them rather than just one thing, and can even affect things like skill progression. The next post is about Togetherness and Together cards. Togetherness is as long as they are spending time together, the relationship between characters can develop, and Together cards are when characters spend time together, you can periodically select a development for the conversation and the relationship as a whole. To develop a relationship, instead of queuing many social interactions like you would do in other life sims, you can make two or more characters do any interaction together, and during that time they spend together, their relationship can slowly evolve. Our character Sebastian is hanging out with two townies, Jason and Maggie. They are doing push-ups. Why we like this gameplay mechanic: you can develop relationships with a whole group of people at once, not just with one-on-one interactions. Thanks to Paralives' mechanic, that allows you to quickly select many characters and make them easily do something as a group. Characters will stick together and do interactions as a group instead of the player having to queue many interactions, or else the characters will stop interacting together. Together cards: when characters do interactions together, from time to time you can choose developments for the conversation and how the relationship evolves. This is what we call the Together cards. When spending time together, the Together bar fills up. It currently is set to take 1 in-game hour. Wonder if that'll be a good time in the end, or if that might be a bit too long. And then every time the Together bar has filled up, the player can click it and is then offered a choice of 3 Together cards that can evolve the conversation and relationship in different directions. In this image, you can see that our character Sebastian can ask the townies Maggie and Jason what their job is because they don't know each other a lot yet. Sebastian can also share tips about push-ups because that's what they are currently doing. This will give a small gain to the fitness skill of all 3 pairs in the group. Oh, that's nice. That interaction has actual impact. Why we like this gameplay mechanic: The game can smartly suggest relationship developments that are appropriate for the current context and throw curveballs that will create interesting events that will impact the relationship. You don't have to navigate an overcharged interaction menu to choose a specific social interaction and repeat that many times in a row if you want to develop a relationship between characters. Yeah, I really do feel like that is something where they directly looked at a lot of, especially more recent criticism with The Sims 4 of its pie menu and the overhaul that happened just before the Growing Together pack came out. But this last one might be my favorite. Evolving a relationship will be done somewhat slower over multiple days. Flirting with someone and marrying them all in under 30 in-game minutes will be a lot more rare in Paralives. I'm sure many will disagree with me on this, but I'm so tired of those memes that have started ever since The Sims 3 days where it's like, oh, get married in a day. I don't want that to be a thing anymore. That can be left behind with the older games. So I'm really glad that Paralives will have some more realistic relationship progression. More examples. After Maggie left for work, Sebastian kept doing some workout with Jason and started to get a bit flirty. On the right, you can see that the conversation became romantic, as well as being focused on their common interest for fitness. Some Together cards have a success chance, like the ones for flirting. The more romantic the conversation is and the higher compatibility two characters have, the better the odds. Also, notice how the second card has a blue border and the label energetic. This Together card is tied to one of Sebastian's personality traits. Now Jason wants to kiss Sebastian, so we have yes, I'm flattered, but no, sorry, and absolutely not. So that is cool that there is like a more gentle turning down and then an outright harsh rejection. What we really like about this system is that from time to time, townies that you do not control can take an initiative that you can react to in different ways. For instance, here Jason wants to kiss our character Sebastian, we can choose a Together card as a reaction. And now we have 3 relationship choices. Ask to be lovers, that will make them lovers. Upgrade their friend status to 3, or become fitness buddies by bonding over fitness. As discussed in a previous Patreon post, labels that describe the relationship between two characters can be unlocked and upgraded to a higher level. This is done through Together cards. The blue rectangle represents relationship labels that will be unlocked or upgraded if you select this card. I chose to unlock the Fitness Buddy label. When looking at the social menu, we can see that this label has been added alongside the other labels that already define Sebastian's relationship with Jason. This sounds like a really fresh way to approach relationships, though again, this definitely feels like something I'll have to play more of to form a more solid opinion. Now for more on group interactions. Because of all the GIFs in this post, I'll change up the format here a bit. So one big design goal for us with Paralives is to support many different playstyles. That's why the game lets you play with a single character with a big and busy household or anything in between. When we were thinking of gameplay styles based around multiple characters and making them socialize, one key element was very important to us. We want a feeling of togetherness in the game, so it should be very easy for players to make their characters do almost any interaction as a group. How it works. At the start of this animated GIF, only Sebastian is selected. Then I simply click and drag my mouse cursor to create a selection rectangle and select everybody. In the interface at the bottom, you can also shift-click characters to choose those you want selected. The white circles under each character indicate those who are selected, but this might still be changed. Doing a group interaction is super simple and quick. Just select your characters and click on an object to perform any interaction, just like you would with only one character selected. Note, in today's post, you might see characters turn around too suddenly and walk through each other. We will be working on making these movements more fluid. For examples, Our goal is to make every interaction in the game doable as a solo character or as a group. We might not be able to do it for 100% of the interactions, but so far, we haven't seen many cases where we won't be able to support it. There's a couple examples. Walk somewhere as a group, that's cool. And do push-ups as a group, kind of like what we saw in the trailer. Even using the toilet as a group. In that case, you can see in this GIF where I accelerated time, they will take turns using the toilet while the rest hang out together while waiting. If there are multiple toilets nearby, they will each use a different one. Wow, that is really clever that they thought that when there's only one interaction available for use and then you're currently in a group of parafolk, or simply chat as a group. More examples that are planned. Making a family eat dinner together at the same time will be very easy with the system. Thank you! Oh my gosh, that will be so great. Selecting multiple characters and asking them to water the plants will make each para find different plants to water, completing the task faster than doing it solo. Clicking on a bed and selecting the sleep interaction while having multiple paras selected will make each para go to sleep in their own bed, so you don't need to order every para individually. Oh, this will be a lifesaver for sleepovers, yes! Play a game together as a group, go swim in the pool together as a group, and much, much more. Interacting with townies. Everything explained in this Patreon post also works to interact with other characters from the town that are not in your household and that you do not control. You can use the selection tool to select them among your own characters and choose an interaction to perform. It's possible that these characters refuse though, because they have their own life and their own autonomy. Okay, that's good they took that into account. On the left are the two characters from my own household, and on the right, we have two townie characters that I do not control. Don't ask a very hungry townie parafolk to dance though, they'll probably refuse. Okay, you know what? That was actually way more efficient doing the screen recording way. So, on to the next one. It's related to careers. So, find a job by seeing job ads in front of workplaces in the town, or by looking online. After each day of work, upgrade your job with interesting perks. Each day? That sounds a little much. Apply to work elsewhere for career progression opportunities. So we have upgrading a job, game designer at Paralives Studio Incorporated, rank 1, working 5 days a week, and yeah, no expertises or extras at the time. My para just got enrolled as a game designer at Paralives Studio Incorporated. It's just an example, it probably won't be an actual job in the game. Also, the salaries seen in this post are still to be tweaked, so don't make much of these numbers yet. In our game, a job can be upgraded every single day after a work shift. This allows players to evolve their job and career in the direction they want. So there you go, we have this effective communicator, rank 3, adds 75 paradigms. Then video game knowledge, rank 125. Party planning committee under extras, that's interesting. Here's the same job, but after many days of work and upgrades. Okay, so that's all the same, but then, yeah, you can pick one. You can go up to rank 15, rank 4 of effective communicator, and water the plants. Yeah, okay, for the gardening skill. Yeah, it's just watering the potted plants inside the studio. After each day of work, you can select one of 3 job upgrades for your para, the right panel. So green is upgrade the job rank, increase the salary. Blue is to unlock an expertise or upgrade an existing one. This will increase your salary, and these can be seen as bullet points on your resume. Oh, so they're transferable when switching to another job. That's pretty neat. Then red, unlock a new extra. Extras don't give more money, but they give various perks that allow your para to have other reasons than just money to go to work. For instance, if you are in the party planning committee, your para will socialize while working, and if your para is tasked with watering the plants at the office, they will slowly increase their gardening skill while working. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Then we have some expertise, and extras can combo with the personality of your para to offer boosted bonuses. Here, the money gain is displayed in purple to indicate that it combos with the fact that my para has a lot of points in the mind stat. And yeah, there's a post about personalities. And that's cool that it is indicated with the purple, because then, yeah, I mean, it's just like a small thing, but it is nice to have that extra indicator that, yes, you do have another bonus in play. Though, I don't know if purple's the right color, to be honest, but I don't know. This is still really early days. It could still change. Changing job to progress in your career. Just like in real life, you might start your career at a workplace that is great for new workers, but has limited growing opportunities. That's why you'll be able to find and apply to jobs in different workplaces, and this will be a great way to progress in your career, get a big salary increase, and unlock greater perks. Yeah, okay, so you do have these different examples of possible video game dev jobs, like being the game design director, programmer, game artist, but one of the companies is different than the other three. Yeah, that's a great realistic detail that I hadn't thought of. And some interesting opportunities for my para. 1 at the same company she's currently at, and 3 at another company in the same field of work. The thumbnail images are placeholders. They will be showing the actual workplace buildings. There you go. You can see falling just short of the total required points between charisma, relationships, effective communicator, and then nothing under writing reports and management. To get a given job, a para must be qualified for it. Each job will check various things to determine if you are qualified. This can include previously gained expertises, skills, relationships with people that work at the company you're applying to, etc. Then more details on jobs and careers. Rabbit holes. You don't control your characters while they're at work. The reason is that it would be a ton of work for us to implement each job in an active way, and it's hard to make jobs not feel like doing boring tasks over and over. Definitely a very common complaint I've seen about active careers in The Sims. It's possible that we reconsider this later though, after the release of the game. I mean, I still don't mind doing active careers once in a while. It is a nice change of pace, and actually being able to see where your Sims work and possibly tell stories there. Non-linear progression. Job progression won't be linear in a given field of work. For instance, the upgrade to being a nurse won't be being a doctor. Our system allows for more flexible and realistic career paths. In multiple jobs, you can have multiple jobs at the same time if their schedules are not conflicting. A student will also be able to have part-time jobs. That's great. Then we have how needs and wants work in Paralives. So in other life sims, you might be used to seeing bars indicating the status of a character's needs, like hunger, sleep, and hygiene. In Paralives, we wanted to do something more dynamic. Instead of showing a list of need bars for your characters, in addition to a list of wants and emotions, we thought it would be great to show a single list of the current thoughts of your para folks. So, closer look. I want to dance, I want to meet someone new, I could use a shower soon, and I'm starving! The thoughts of the selected parafolk are displayed on the left of the screen. The style of the interface and icons is not final. This list of thoughts is dynamic, so it only shows the current wants and the needs that, well, need to be addressed. The needs that are fully met and that are currently not a problem will not be shown in the interface. What we like about this concept is flexibility. we could have more than just the 5 or 6 traditional needs. A character with some specific personality traits, for instance, could have a whole new needs tailored for them. Simplicity of the interface, instead of having a complicated and cluttered interface with a section for needs, another for wants, another for emotions, and so on, we display everything as thoughts, and it's the same section of the interface. More personal. You get a more personal connection with your own characters, like you could read their thoughts, and then it's up to you how to decide like how you react to them. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see what they're going for there, and it can be annoying sifting through UI sometimes. So that might work in their favor. Needs criticality levels. With needs being shown as thoughts instead of bars, it could be difficult for the player to evaluate if a need has to be addressed now, or if they can still wait for a bit. That's why we display needs differently depending on the urgency. Various needs at different criticality levels, the more space they take, the more critical they are. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I didn't notice that at first, but I'm tired is a bit larger than I could use a shower soon, so more tired than stinky, I suppose. So for instance, the bathroom need is displayed as such in the thought list. For large chunks of time, when the character doesn't need to use the bathroom, the need is not displayed at all in the thought list. When it's moderately critical, I'll need to use the bathroom soon. When it's somewhat more critical, I need to use the bathroom. When it's critical, bathroom, now! Needs on a schedule. In real life, some needs like hunger and sleep manifest themselves on a schedule. People are hungry when getting close to typical meal times. Okay, so you have like that chart there. Yeah, makes sense. The hunger need has 3 periods in a day, and the sleep need has 1. With this system, a need manifests itself at specific times each day. For instance, here's what will happen around dinner time. At 5 p.m., this thought would appear, I'm starting to get a bit hungry. At 7, it would turn into, I'm hungry. At 9 p.m., it would become, I'm starving. Sadly, if the player still doesn't let their character eat, the thought will eventually turn into, I don't have much time left. I need food. And then interesting notes, in the future, we will make it so various elements like personality traits or the current life stage can affect the schedule. A night owl would go to bed later, and babies would need to sleep more often, for instance. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to have these times be exactly the same for each and every pair of folks. That's not how it works in real life. Because days quickly go by, and we don't want needs to feel like a constant chore in Paralives, we made it so characters can skip a meal before getting hungry. So if you ate breakfast, your characters won't be hungry until dinner, for instance. Everything shared in this post is easily customizable using the modding tools in this game. Actually, I don't think, as far as I can remember, I don't think they've revealed how quickly the time goes by. Is it the same as The Sims? Because I hope not. I would actually like it to go by a bit slower, so it is more relaxed and don't feel like as rushed as I often feel in real life. Because it is a video game, I do want to relax a bit more. What we like about the concept of needs on a schedule, clear expectations, easier for the player to know when to expect their characters to be hungry or sleepy. Group communion, the different characters of your households are more likely to get hungry at the same time, which is very convenient when you want them to have a group meal. Wants. Wants are things that your character wishes for. In Paralives, we dynamically give different wants to your characters. They serve as small objectives that you can fulfill, and they are displayed in the thought list just like needs. I want to get a promotion, I want to purchase a computer, I want to see Carl. I need to use the bathroom. This pair of folks currently has a few wants alongside a need that has to be addressed. The consequences of not taking care of a want are less dramatic though. Okay, an idea that we are testing is making it so if a character really wants something and is obsessed with it, their needs might be put on hold for a while. Anyone else here has been so in love that they forget to eat? Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to see Carl as soon as possible. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Lastly, I do want to go over a couple of things in the initial post talking about the release of the trailer. So, to summarize with the early access, they don't have an exact date other than 2025 to announce just yet. And they do want to use the whole early access period to get feedback from the players, and that they will be adding things in the middle of early access like cars, bikes, pets, weather, seasons, and more. Also mentioned is their public roadmap, because there have been some changes for features that were originally planned to be there for the first day of early access, but needed to be pushed back to sometime during the early access phase instead, such as basements and pools. But I suppose as long as they get adequate time to polish these features and have them ready for the full 1.0 version launch, then that's what matters. They also made a statement clarifying why Paralives will never have any paid DLCs, only free updates. So they will be making frequent updates to release new features and content for free even after early access is done. The reason for this decision is that, as players ourselves, we believe that purchasing a game should come with the guarantee of a fleshed out experience. We aim to make Paralives our labor of love for years to come, continuously coming up with exciting new stuff to experience in the game. As a small team without any shareholders to please, we believe the money we make from selling the game alone will be enough to support us and the development of free updates in the long run. And I sure hope that this pans out. I really hope Paralives will be a smashing success. And I mean, I think they could still keep the Patreon going for sneak peeks of the free updates that they want to do after early access is done, so they could still make some money that way too. But that is a really good point about shareholders, with that not being a factor for them, and also that they are a small team, so not as many people to pay as there would be within a huge multi-million-dollar company. So, okay, I suppose that makes sense, but I am just hoping that it really does end up being a good plan in the long run, because you don't want a repeat of, say, Disney Dreamlight Valley, where they promised that it would be free to play after early access was done, but then they went back on that decision. Even though, in my opinion, I'm really tired of the free to play model, so I'm glad Dreamlight Valley didn't go that way, but it's just that, they broke the trust of people and went against their initial promise that they had for so long. So I don't want something like that to happen to Paralives. I really hope that this will end up being a great game that can also double as a great competitor for The Sims, because I don't want The Sims ship to just sink forever or anything like that, but EA does need to be taught a lesson, so that would be great if Paralives at least made a dent and made them, pay attention and realize they need to do better. And that about wraps it up for this Paralives video. Oh my gosh, I knew this was going to be a long video, but not almost 40 minutes long, but there was a lot to go through there. But I'm even more excited for Paralives now. It was great to see more clarification and details on all of these features that basically give us an overview of how live mode will work and more insight into the pair folks' actual personalities. So feel free to let me know your thoughts on all this info in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.